భారతీయులకు వివిధ రకాల సేవలు అందిస్తున్న ఇండియన్ కాన్సులేట్ పై TV9 USA ప్రత్యేక కార్యక్రమం నిర్వహించింది. ఇండియన్ కాన్సులేట్ జనరల్ తో TV9 USA ప్రతినిధి ఉజ్వల్ ముఖాముఖి చూద్దాం.
మన భారతదేశానికి ఇక్కడ యూఎస్ఏలో ఉండే ఎన్ఆర్ఐస్కి, స్టూడెంట్స్కి, యావత్ భారతీయులందరికీ ఒక వారధి ఇండియన్ కాన్సులేట్. న్యూయార్క్ నగరం నడిబొడ్డున ఉన్న ఈ ఇండియన్ కాన్సులర్ వర్క్స్తో పాటు ఇంకా ఎన్నెన్నో సహాయాలు అందిస్తోంది. పాస్పోర్ట్ రెన్యువల్ కానీ, ఇలా అంటే కొన్ని ఎమర్జెన్సీ హెల్ప్స్ కానీ చాలా ఉన్నాయి. సో మనతో మాట్లాడడానికి న్యూయార్క్ కాన్సులేట్ జనరల్ రెడీగా ఉన్నారు. అండ్ అలాగే మనం వెళ్ళి వాళ్ళ ఆఫీస్ చూద్దాం. ఈ న్యూయార్క్లో ఉన్న ఇండియన్ కాన్సులేట్ అంటే వాళ్ళు ఎలాంటి సర్వీసెస్ ఆఫర్ చేస్తారు మనకి. సో చూసొద్దాం రండి. సో మనం ఇండియన్ కాన్సులేట్ లోపలికి వచ్చేసాము. సో ఇది రిసెప్షన్. మనకి ఇక్కడ మంచిగా వెల్కమ్ చేశారు. సో అందరికీ సేమ్ ఇలానే వెల్కమ్ చేస్తారు. అండ్ ఈ కాన్సులేట్ 365 days ఓపెన్ ఉంటుంది. అండ్ హాలిడేస్లో కూడా దేర్ ఆర్ సమ్ అవర్స్ విచ్ దే ఆర్ ఓపెన్. అండ్ అదే కాకుండా కూడా ఒక ఎనీ సిటిజన్ ఆర్ ఎనీబడి ఆర్ మన ఇండియన్స్ ఎవరు వచ్చినా కూడా ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడికి వస్తే వాళ్ళని అడిగితే దే విల్ డైరెక్ట్ అస్ టు ద రైట్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్. సో దిస్ ఇస్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద దిస్ ఇస్ ద ఓల్డెస్ట్ కాన్సులేట్ అనమాట. So let's go and explore. సో ఈ బ్యూటిఫుల్ బిల్డింగ్ కట్టింది 1903లో. అండ్ అలాగే మన వాళ్ళు ఎక్వైర్ చేసింది 1950లో. మనం చూస్తే ఇది అంటే వన్ ఆఫ్ ద స్ట్రాంగెస్ట్ ఫౌండేషన్స్ అనమాట. అండ్ ఆల్సో ఇట్స్ హ్యూజ్. మనం సీలింగ్స్ తీసుకున్నా ఇట్స్ లైక్ వెరీ స్ట్రాంగ్. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద ఫస్ట్ ఫ్లోర్ అనమాట ఈ మన కాన్సులేట్ బిల్డింగ్. అండ్ మనం అటు చూస్తే లైక్ వీ హ్యావ్ సో దట్ ఈస్ ద కాన్సులేట్ జనరల్స్ రూమ్. అండ్ లెట్స్ వాక్ ఇన్ ఓవర్ హియర్. సో ఈ రూమ్ వచ్చేసి ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ అంటే ఏమన్నా ఈవెంట్స్ చేసుకోవాలన్నా కూడా ఏమన్నా వీ కెన్ సీ దిస్ రూమ్ ఇస్ హ్యూజ్. సో లెట్స్ లుక్ ఎట్ దిస్ హ్యూజ్ రూమ్. ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళకు ఈవెంట్స్ చేసుకోవాలన్నా, ప్రెస్ కాన్ఫరెన్సెస్ చేసుకోవాలన్నా కూడా సో దిస్ ఇస్ అ వెరీ హ్యూజ్ రూమ్. అండ్ ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ మీటింగ్స్ కానీ ఏమన్నా కూడా అవుతూ ఉంటాయి. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద ప్లేస్. సో నెక్స్ట్ లెట్స్ గో మీట్ ద కాన్సులర్ జనరల్ అండ్ దెన్ ఆయనతో మాట్లాడదాము, ఆయనతో ఎన్నో విషయాలు తెలుసుకుందాం. సో ఇందాక మనం చెప్పుకున్నట్టు ఇక్కడ ఉండే భారతీయులకి, స్టూడెంట్స్కి కానీ, H1 వాళ్ళకి కానీ, అంటే బేసిక్గా ఇండియన్ ఆరిజిన్ వాళ్ళందరికీ మన ఇండియాతోటి మనకి ద మెయిన్ బ్రిడ్జ్ ఇస్ ద కాన్సులేట్. అండ్ మనతో పాటు ఉన్నారు కాన్సులర్ జనరల్ వినయ్ ప్రధాన్. వినయ్జీ నమస్తే. సో బేసికలీ లాట్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ హ్యావ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇన్ కేస్ వన్స్ దే కమ్ టు అమెరికా. They are clueless. What do they have to do? Like, in case if they have any situation, some kind of emergency, or lot of questions they have. And they don't know where to go. So basically, we wanted to ask you, what are the main functions and, what are the main things what they can get from the consulate here?
Namaskar. Let me first thank you and TV9 for finding time to have this interaction today. What you are asking, what we are discussing today is quite relevant, quite important. As you know, we are receiving quite a good number of Indian tourists, Indian visitors and Indian students to the United States. And at the moment we are present in 7 different places other than Washington DC. The Indian consulates are located in New York, located in Atlanta, Chicago, Houston, San Francisco and Seattle. So this is in a way, besides other functions, the core activities, core work of the consulate is to assist Indian community, Indian travelers, Indian visitors, Indian diaspora, and somebody who is visiting from India, for them we are there to support them, we are there to assist them in case of there is an emergency, there is a need. So coming to your question, on a regular day we provide the consular services, which are like issuing passport. If somebody's passport has expired or somebody has lost a passport, we come across cases when Indian travelers, Indian visitors, they lose their passport, or suddenly they realize that their passport is expiring. So we provide renewal of passport. People who are staying here, as you know, the Indian Consulate in New York cater to about 2.5 million, which is 25 lakh strong Indian diaspora. Out of that, roughly about 15 lakhs, which is 1.5 million, they are people of Indian origin who are holding American passport, and there will be about a million, which is 10 lakh Indian people who are Indian NRIs. They are holding Indian passport. They are students, they are professionals, they are people who are working here. So we, like I said, we are catering to 25 lakh Indian diaspora, and the general requirement they come across would be issue a visa. People who are holding American passport, either they require OCI card or they require an Indian visa to travel back to India. And the Indian nationals, they require renewal of their passport, they require various other services as simple as registration of their marriage or registration of their birth certificate of the child. So whatever things you require in India, the Indian Consulate provides those services in under one roof. And here the services are now streamlined. The agency which is authorized by Government of India is VFS. They cater to visa, OCI, passport renewal, and renunciation certificate issues. And the other services, whether they are registration, attestation, or any other emergency services, they are all provided by the consulate directly. Now recently, going by the requirement of Indian travelers and the people who are staying here, we decided to open the Indian Consulate for 365 days. So now during the national holidays, during the Saturdays and Sundays, the Indian Consulate in New York is open from 2 to 4 p.m. so that emergency services, emergency requirements of people who are traveling from India can all be met. But other than that, we work very closely with Indian communities, we work very closely with the Indian associations, we work very closely with the law enforcement authorities over here, airport authorities over here, so that the people who are staying here, as well as people who are traveling from India, their regular requirements and their emergency requirements are met. So broadly, these are the functioning that we do, and broadly these are the kind of interface that we have with our Indian travelers and the people who stay over here.
So on this note, like my question is, like a person, like he comes to America as a traveler, and then he goes to San Francisco, but like he is here in New York for some visit or something. Right. So because he entered in America, or like his son or daughter is working in San Francisco, can he get his passport renewed here in New York?
Yes, certainly. We don't distinguish between the point of entry. Any Indian passport holder, if he requires his passport to be renewed, we would be renewing it here. Or for that matter, anybody entering from any port of entry can go to any other Indian consulate in the country and get the services.
And also a green card holder whose address is in San Francisco, but he is here in New York. So can he also get his passport renewed, because his physical address is basically in San Francisco or West Coast?
That is not a problem at all. In fact, we maintain regular interaction between all the consulates, so all these services are centralized these days. The effort of Government of India has been to provide a very smooth experience to Indian nationals. All these facilities are provided smoothly and seamlessly.
This helps the largest Indian diaspora. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of waiting times and all. That's what people have an assumption. So they approach the agents, like in case if you want your passport to be renewed, I mean, like there's a long wait time or something, so let's go through an agent and pay him some extra and get our things done. So what do you think about it? Like is that the right thing?
No, that is not the right thing. In fact, recently, a month back, we organized a press conference to address this particular issue. We spoke to Indian community leaders, we spoke to Indian community organizations in different parts of the country, to alert them that they can directly reach out to us for all these services. In fact, visa, these days 90% of the visa are electronic visa. So last year, if we look at the statistics, about 90% of the people from this country travel to India with an electronic visa. So you don't have to come to Indian consulate or embassy to get a visa, or even to VFS. You can simply apply online and get an electronic visa. The standard time taken to give an electronic visa is 24 to 48 hours. So within 2 days you are getting visa. So there is no point of asking any support from an agent. And people who for some reason don't apply for electronic visa, they apply through us, and we have been issuing visa maximum within 7 days through VFS. And like I said, on emergency services, people come here on Saturdays, Sundays, or on a national holiday, they get visa within 30 minutes. So that is the visa services.
Okay.
So I would say similar has been the experience of passport renewal, similar has been the experience of OCI certificate, renunciation certificate, issuing a power of attorney. So all these services are now smoothly and seamlessly provided here. You can see the Google review of the consulate. You will find how people from different parts of the country are availing these services and expressing their satisfaction about the services here. So there is no reason why somebody should go to an agent and pay disproportionately higher amount of money and be misguided. We have also come across situations where some agents have used fake documentation to complete formalities, and the people who have availed services, they faced trouble later on because these things get caught at some point of time. So I would strongly advise and urge the people not to use the services of agents by paying disproportionately high amount of money, and take their assurances, they should take the assurances with a pinch of salt.
Main question a lot of people wanted me to ask was, there's an emergency,
Right.
so sometime like midnight our time, 4 or 5, and they have to fly to India immediately. So what is the procedure? Like few people think that online you have to go, it's a very long procedure, will there somebody to help? So in case a person has an emergency in the midnight, what should they do immediately to get the visa? Or
we have an emergency telephone line which is attended 24/7. In fact, you can make a trial. You can make a call, and you would see that somebody is actually attending the telephone call 24/7. So for emergency, we like I said, on normal days we are available, but on weekend, national holidays, we are open from 2 to 4 to attend to those services. By and large, our experience has been that it has been catering to all the requirements. If somebody faces a situation like that, you mentioned that somebody gets a call early morning and has to travel within few hours, I'm sure if somebody makes a call, we'll find a way to support them.
So the same day they can fly to India.
Yes.
And also, can we get that number, the emergency phone number?
Well, that's in our site. It's there in our social media. It's
Sure.
very widely used. In fact, we receive about 500. That is another aspect I would like to say. That the consulates across the country, and particularly the consulate here, has been very interactive, both digitally and through telephone. So we have AI-enabled chatbot called Ask Bharti, and we receive about 500 to 600 queries. It's very interactive, and people raise queries, they get responses, and people are finding it quite useful. People use our Pramith app, which has also been helpful to them. Many people are downloading the Indian Consulate app, and they are getting services through that. And of course, the telephone number, both our number, the VFS number, and the emergency number, which is a separate one, they are regularly being used. So I would say the effort has been by the consulate and the government of India is to provide a different experience, an experience to both the American friends and to the Indian diaspora, that here the consulate is there at their service. We are a service organization. We want to provide them that smoothness in this service.
Yeah, and also another problem which few people would face is domestic violence. Like they get married and the women come here. They don't know, because at this juncture few people have language problem, and then few people, they really don't know whom to approach. So what is their would the consulate help them, or like how does that work?
So the government of India in such cases have made provisions to support the Indian nationals who are facing such challenges here. We come across some incidents where Indian women, they face similar challenges that you mentioned, and the government of India has provided for legal services for them and financial services for them. And in my jurisdiction, we have been working with the Indian communities, and we have been regularly providing such support.
So they can come directly to the consulate
Yes,
and then
yes.
talk to the concerned person,
Yes.
and then they will be getting a guidance.
Right. And we have been doing it. In fact, recently we have put the a panel of lawyers in all the 10 states that we look after from the consular jurisdiction of New York. So we have identified the legal advisors from all the states, have put them in a panel and put them on the website for the use of the Indian citizens. And we have been regularly approached. In such cases, we provide them legal advices. In several cases, we have provided financial assistance as well.
Okay, and also like culturally, I think you do August 15th, January 26th. So what are the other things, like some festivals, anything that happen here?
We feel that the celebration of Indian culture, Indian art forms, Indian national days, these are necessary in a country where we have a large Indian diaspora, where the American people show interest to know about Indian culture. Good thing is that we are not the only one who are doing it. Here you will find several Indian organizations, several diaspora organizations, and several American organizations. They also do the same. You would be happy to know that there are 36,000 yoga studios in the United States. They are promoting yoga. So while we celebrate International Day of Yoga around the country, but like I said, 36,000 yoga studios are here. Ayurveda is already quite popular.
Correct.
Indian culture, Indian dance forms, Indian classical dance, Bollywood dance, Indian music, they're all popular. You name any Indian known singer, musician, film star, you will be finding them coming here regularly, performing in different places.
Right.
So I would say Indian culture is celebrated here. People feel connected to that, both Indian diaspora and the American people. And we as a consulate, we do the same. We not only celebrate the national days like 15th August and 26th January and Gandhi Jayanti. We do celebrate, like I said, yoga, Ayurveda. We celebrate Ambedkar Jayanti, Tagore Jayanti. We celebrate, you imagine any Indian festival, we celebrate that. We hosted the Diwali, we hosted the Holi, we hosted Iftar, we host every program here. More importantly, we work with the Indian communities. We celebrate the state foundation days. We celebrate all the major celebrations of the states. Me and my colleagues, we travel around to attend the big celebrations, the cultural events organized by Indian communities. So that is an essential part, to be part of the community celebrations, to promote Indian culture as well as promoting Indian culture ourselves.
And also one more question is, there are a lot of senior citizens, and then few people who have language problems. So they hesitate to come to the consulate, or in case if they have any questions, like whether would they speak my language, ante ma language maatladtara. So a person, for example, a Telugu speaking person who comes and enters the consulate, would he be getting the help like in his language, because if he has any problem?
So fortunately, this consulate has people speaking most of the languages. We in fact came across few cases of Telugu speaking people who would require answer to their questions in that language, and I have colleagues who could answer that. So while we don't come across such challenges regularly, but whenever we come across such challenges, we have our colleagues who help them in one way or other. We also regularly help friends to fill up application forms when they find challenges in terms of filling it up in English language. But I would say this is not a regular challenge that we face.
So now the main part, lot of students come from India, and basically we see a large numbers coming from the Telugu states. I mean, if you see the airports during the time like fall, or the time when the classes begin, the Hyderabad airport is filled with students completely. So there are a lot of do's and don'ts which they have to follow in America, and a lot of people, they make mistakes unknowingly, and then in choosing the universities, or there are a lot of things. So what are the do's and don'ts for the students who are entering America?
I'm really happy that you asked me this question. Students' welfare is a priority for the consulate and for the government of India. In fact, in the month of February, we issued a elaborative do's and don'ts for the Indian students, and I remember many public spirited people, they also issued videos about what the students were studying in the United States coming from India, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. It was in the context of incidents of unfortunate death cases of Indian students here. That was the context at that point of time. But we have been regularly working with Indian student communities. I personally have visited 18 universities in last 7 months, have met the university authorities, the Indian students associations. Of course, we regularly organize meet and greet, we organize interactions with the students. But broadly speaking, coming to your question, the Indian students who are coming here, they should be mindful of few things. First of all, they should choose the university very carefully, because end of the day education here is expensive, and one should look at the value proposition when you are choosing an university. As you know, education in India is more of a family project, and a student coming to the United States, it's more of a proposition where the entire family is invested. They go through anxiety, they go through emotional issues, and of course there is huge expectation when somebody is coming this far for education. So this is something the students should keep in mind. The challenges that the Indian students have been facing here, because we keep interacting with students, and based upon their experiences, I would say that the challenges they are facing are, many a times they don't know the US rules and regulations. Many a times they find out that the cultural context here is a little different, and it takes little time for them to understand and settle down here. So the good thing is that Indian students here are generally very well respected. When we interact with the universities, university authorities, they appreciate the way Indian students stand out in terms of their good manners, in terms of their focus on education and other constructive activities. But nonetheless, we also come across incidents where we meet students who are in trouble, primarily because they did not know the US regulation, US rules, and that land them in trouble. So my advice would be to when they come here, they should interact with fellow Indian students. They should connect themselves with the Indian community. They should take the assistance that is available from the university, from the local Indian communities, from the Indian students associations, and of course we as a consulate, we are always available. We are in touch with all the students association in the universities. We interact with them to deal with their day-to-day challenges, like some students losing their passport or some students facing some initial challenges. We interact with them. Recently we have opened a portal, that is a student portal in the consulate's website, and the student portal has 3 features. First is a list of doctors, psychiatrists who can give free counseling to Indian students who are facing different challenges. The other part of the portal is a list of legal experts, lawyers, who can help them in case they have some questions regarding legal issues. And then the third is a internship portal. So this is a portal where many American companies who are willing to take Indian students as interns. It's not explicitly and specifically for Indian students, but these are the companies who are willing to take interns, and they are ready to consider Indian students internship proposals, and they volunteer to give their name to us, and we have so far about 30 companies who are willing to take Indian students as interns. So that portal also we have put for the Indian students, and we find that the portal has been very useful. We would urge the Indian students to use that portal as well. But coming to the challenges that our students are facing, a major part of that is the visa issues. Mostly after their education, after the visa is adjusted, they face the challenge of getting a visa extension. On that context, we have been working with Indian students. The government of India has been talking to government of United States on these matters. But I would advise that the students who are coming here for education should keep in mind that not everybody who is coming here has to stay back here. The opportunities in India are as bright and in many cases much better than the opportunities here. And with the skill set that you are acquiring here as an Indian student in an American university, going back to India, you will be probably getting much better scope to prove your leadership in different walks of life. So there should be no hesitation to go back to India if you are not having an opportunity to stay back here. So that should be the mindset of our students, that if you get leadership position here, please stay back by all means. But if it is not happening, one should actually be looking forward to go back to India because the opportunities there are probably much better than the opportunities that would be available here. So broadly speaking, like I said, the Indian community, Indian students community, it's as you know, is the biggest cohort of international students now.
Right.
Going by the statistics, we have 354,000 Indian students. That's the single largest international cohort of international students in this country. And with this rise in Indian students numbers, the challenges are coming to the forefront more in number.
Sure. So as you said, three things are there on the website. One is the list of doctors, and the new thing is they can apply for jobs. It's more a kind of internship. It's more a kind of. And the third one is for the legal help, right? Yes. But also in your when you spoke, you said choosing the right university is important. So few people, few students from India, they don't know how to choose the right university, and then they fall into the wrong university. Right. So for them, how can they choose the right university? Because they choose the wrong university, they come here, but then the university is hardly of a building size. And then so can they change the university, or how do they know which is the right university and which is the wrong university?
I think that is that's where I would say due diligence, a kind of serious approach to look for the credentials of the universities is required. In the age of internet, it's not very difficult to find the review.
But then will the consulate provide a list of those universities which are blacklisted or anything?
Not at the moment. We actually end of the day, different universities have different value propositions.
Right.
Some of them, we are receiving complaints that the expectation that the students had from a particular university, what the university website promised, when the students landed here, they are finding the reality to be otherwise.
Yeah.
Now, if we get queries from students, we receive at times queries from the parents about credential of a university, and we reply them back.
Okay.
But having landed here in a university which is not meeting your expectation, it might be difficult.
Yeah. So in case if they want to transfer or anything, so would it be a right choice? See, once they land, they come to know that that's a very wrong university. So what would you advise? To transfer the university?
I would advise that one should be very careful before choosing a university, before coming to this country on the visa sponsored by that university. The change of university might be a very difficult proposition.
Right.
So one has to be really careful before choosing the university and coming over here.
And also in case of any death or emergency of any students, how would the consulate help them, or their families or anything living in India?
So we have come across unfortunate incidents of Indian students' death. So what we do is immediately upon knowing it, we reach out to both the family and to the university and law enforcement authorities. We work very closely with the concerned detective to ensure that the investigation is done for the cause of death, and we keep the family regularly in loop. And we remain with the family till the last moment, till we send the mortal remains back to India. And fortunately, the government of India has provision for even paying the cost of the whole process, including sending the mortal remains back to India.
Okay.
And in the recent past, all the cases that we have come across, we have supported the families. Whenever they required, we have paid for the sending the dead body and the mortal remains back to India. We have paid for that. But more importantly, we remain with the family during that time of crisis. We ensure that a fair investigation is done for the cause of death, and so that it doesn't become a traumatic experience for the family and the other larger student community.
Yeah, and also like as you said in the past, like any students also, in case if they want their passport to be renewed, they can just walk into the consulate.
It may not be easy for students who are staying very far to come to the consulate, so they use the postal services. So VFS provides those services through post. So it takes about 7 days time once you send your application through postal services. By the time you get back your passport, it generally takes 7 to 10 days time before you get. But in case you require an emergency service, we are open here to provide passport the same day. Fortunately, the consulate here has passport printing facility. So many a times we issue passport the same day.
Okay, and also in the recent times we have seen a few incidences like in New Jersey, Dallas, shoplifting of the Indian students, and it's a serious crime here.
Okay.
But the students are not aware of it, and then they just do it for fun or for XYZ reasons. So what would you suggest those students?
I think this is something, that's what I begin with, that when you come to this country, it's important to know the rules and regulations. You mentioned about shoplifting. This is one example. There
Right.
could be
Yeah,
a number of
just
examples.
right, correct.
Like for example, I know students being deported upon arrival because there is no enough bank balance to support their education here. So the authorities here they found that as a kind of documentation which is not appropriate, and they sent the student back. So I would say it's important to know the rules and regulations here and be very careful in terms of following it.
Right. And also doing the right things, and then also a lot of students who do the jobs which they are not supposed to do, and then they answer the same thing in the port of entry, how are you planning to support your finances? I'm planning to do my part-time job, which is not the right answer when he's coming as a student.
That's what I'm saying, that before coming to this country, whether for education or for any other region, one should know the rules and regulations, and which is applicable to any country.
Any country, correct.
So we would expect the same for people who are coming to India. We would expect the same, that you are aware about the rules and regulations of India. So that is quite logical.
Right.
But other than the rules and regulations, I would also go to the extent of saying that you need to know the culture here.
Correct.
The regular challenges that our student community is facing. I would like to mention about some students getting into the problem of fentanyl. So they don't know that this can be as addictive as it is, and students have faced challenges on that.
Right.
So I would say initially when students come, be in right company, knowing the rules and regulations, being in touch with the Indian Consulate, Indian community, the students associations would give them a good perspective about how they should conduct and navigate themselves in the initial months. But let me not be very alarmist here. The reality is that, like I said, we have 354,000 students. All of them are well respected in this country.
Right.
Based upon my interaction with the university and the Indian communities, I can say that people are very, very appreciative of Indian students, the way they conduct themselves.
Right.
So let us not cloud that by saying, by referring to these incidents, because they are very few. Very few.
Correct.
We should ensure that even those few incidents don't
happen. Yeah.
But let's be appreciative of the fact that our students
are very disciplined,
doing a very good job.
Right. So also the other thing is now in case,
and let's also not forget that the successful Indian diaspora members who we celebrate, we are proud of, they all came to this country as students in most of the cases.
Right. So the best part right now, as you said, is there's a portal for interns, which is helping a lot, and also in case if they have any legal, so mana students andarki entante moodu vishayalandi, meeku legal help kavalana kuda meeru website ni visit cheyochu, mana idi కాన్సులేట్ వెబ్సైట్స్ని, అండ్ అలాగే మీకు డాక్టర్స్ కావాలన్నా కూడా మీకు ఏమన్నా ఎమర్జెన్సీ హెల్ప్లో యూ హ్యావ్ ద లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ డాక్టర్స్, అండ్ మీకు ఇంటర్న్స్కి జాబ్స్ ఏమన్నా కావాలి అంటే దానికి కూడా Indian Consulate is ready to help interns ki entante by posting job postings. So also like in case if they have an emergency and it's the same like others also, they can get the immediate visas, a student also if they can. So మీరు direct ga walk in avvachu and immediately they are there to help. And your message to students?
No, my message to student is twofold. One is to take the opportunity of education here seriously, because the universities here are actually one of the best university system in the world, and the education quality here is really good. But the fact that the education here is very expensive should also be kept in mind. So the students here who are coming here should actually take the opportunity to make the best out of this opportunity, but also to keep in mind that with the economic growth in India, with the development story of India, the opportunities back home are as promising, and in many cases more promising than opportunities here. So if you are coming here, come for the skill set, come for the knowledge. Don't come with the objective of staying back here. If you find good opportunities here, by all means stay back, be in the leadership position of this country in different walks of life. But otherwise, opportunities back home are probably better than opportunities here.
And also I heard that there's a WhatsApp group for students from Consulate.
No, we have different WhatsApp groups with Indian community, with the Indian Student Association leaders.
Okay.
Because like I said, we work with the Indian Students Associations very closely. But to give you a perspective, we have 113,000, 113,000 Indian students in the 10 states that we look after. So it's a big number.
Right.
We try to meet as many student friends as possible. We organize meets and greets. In fact, I went to Northeastern University and I found 1,400 Indian students celebrating Heritage Month of India under one roof. So that's the strength of Indian students.
And also you conduct some kind of seminars here, right? Like
Yes.
for the new batch and the incoming students.
Right.
So how do they get to know about that?
No, like I said, we approach the Indian Student
associations leaders.
Besides the physical seminar that you mentioned, we organize rounds of webinars where the consulate and the ambassador from the embassy in Washington DC, the embassy also interacts with the students. So it has been a regular part of both the ambassadors and the consul general's outreach to meet the student community and the university authorities.
Thank you so much for giving your time, and helping all the students who are here, because you are the one whom we look up to. And any student, if it comes from you, it's something we should really listen to and follow to. Thank you so much. And finally, for everybody living in America, for all the Indians living in America, what's your message?
I would say, the Indian community here, whether they are American passport holders or Indian passport holders, they are a highly successful community. They have made India proud. They have made United States proud in the sense of contributing to the nation building in this country in all walks of life. So they have been a strong bridge between India and United States. They have been playing not only economic and cultural role, they are playing a very strong role in bringing the two countries together. So we as Indian Consulate, we are rather happy to work with the Indian community. We would be available for them at every step, so that they have a smooth experience with the Indian Consulate here, and their connect with India remains a pleasant and smooth experience.
Thank you so much, Binaya Pradhan ji. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank you so much.
ఇది మన ఇండియన్ కాన్సులేట్, న్యూయార్క్లో ఉన్న ఇండియన్ కాన్సులేట్. మీకు ఎటువంటి క్వశ్చన్ ఉన్నా, ఎటువంటి సమస్య ఉన్నా, యూ కెన్ కమ్ హియర్. వాళ్ళు దే ఆర్ మోర్ దెన్ హ్యాపీ టు హెల్ప్ ఎవ్రీబడి. అండ్ ఆల్సో స్టూడెంట్స్ కిందాక చెప్పినట్టు మీకు ఏంటంటే డాక్టర్స్ విషయంలో ఇఫ్ యూ గో టు దేర్ వెబ్సైట్ దే హ్యావ్ లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ డాక్టర్స్. అండ్ అలాగే మీకు లీగల్ హెల్ప్ కావాలన్నా కూడా దిస్ లీగల్ హెల్ప్. అండ్ ఇంటర్న్స్కి దేర్ ఆర్ ఓపెన్ పొజిషన్స్. మీరు యాక్చువల్గా న్యూయార్క్ మన కాన్సులేట్ వెబ్సైట్కి వెళ్ళొచ్చు. ఇలా ఒకటి కాదండి, ఇందాక మనకి కాన్సులర్ జనరల్ బినయ్ ప్రధాన్ గారు చెప్పారు, మనకి ఎన్నో విషయాలు చెప్పారు. సో ప్లీజ్ లిసన్ టు దట్, ఫాలో దెమ్. అండ్ ఎటువంటి హెల్ప్ కావాలన్నా ద న్యూయార్క్ ఇండియన్ కాన్సులేట్ ఇస్ రెడీ టు హెల్ప్ యూ. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Nenu mee Ujjwal from New York.